Happy hump day. We got another huge slate in the MLB. Let's talk some seam. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I am your host, Steven, and we're here to talk some more baseball on a Wednesday. Got another huge slate for you again, a full 15 games. Yesterday should have been a 4-0 sweep. It ended up being a complete break even 2-2 day. Caught some bad breaks, one of the worst beats of the year so far, but we'll go over that in the recap in just a little bit. Quick reminder, NBA Best Bets video will be out for the Wednesday slate. So be sure to check that out as well. But of course, any graphics you see in this video are from an app called OUTLIER. It is the best betting research tool on the market today. I tell you guys every single day, click that link below, you get a 7-day free trial. So let's get into it, and that means it's MLB fun fact time. This one's kind of wild. Nolan Ryan struck out 8 father-son combos in the majors. That's right. He struck out 8 guys, and then they had sons. They got to the majors, and he struck them out too. That's wild. He also struck out a batter with last names starting A through Z. He struck out the whole alphabet except X because nobody he faced had the last name starting with X. Those are really, really important pieces of info for you. Anyways, in this video, we're going to recap that 2-2 day yesterday. Then we'll go over the good and bad hitter matchups. Who's on fire? Usually on Wednesdays, we are busy, so we got to move it back to Thursday. But we will have that for the first time this season. And then, of course, we'll have the full pitcher report, give you our best bets, and wrap it all up with the recap. So hit that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment below to help this channel continue to grow. Some of you guys are liking and commenting every single day for what seems like 2 years now, and I cannot thank you guys enough. I appreciate it. And then, of course, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button as we are on our way to 40,000 subscribers. All right, let's get this party started. That means it's recap time. All right, there it is. The 2-2 day that could have been better. Phillies money line plus 100. You know what? They were up 5-3. It was a bullpen meltdown, and this is part of the reason you don't see a ton of money line bets or full game bets for me, because I just have bullpen meltdown trust issues, whatever you want to call it. And they did. They just fell apart. Zach Wheeler threw decent. They got to Chris Sale like I thought. Again, 5-3, and then they blow it. Carlos Carrasco into 4.5 Ks. 2 Ks in the first inning, only won the rest of the game, and 2 of those 3 were against the leadoff hitter Malloy. Over 8 runs, Angels Rays. Welcome to the #1 bad beat of the year so far early in the season. We'll have worse. Over 8 runs. Just needed one more run in the bottom of the ninth to tie it at 4. That would have guaranteed a cash. Second and third, 0 outs. That's right. They hit a ground ball to the third baseman who runs on contact, which is a stupid play anyways. He gets thrown out of home easily. Then the next guy, I forgot what he did. I don't know. He got out. Brandon Lau struck out on a ball at his eyes. It's just, I don't even know what to say. We just need one run. A pop fly to the outfield. That's a green check mark, but whatever. Nico Horner, I'm not bitter at all. Can you tell? Nico Horner, 1+ hit. Cole Reagan, 6+ Ks. This was kind of a mixture of hitter and pitcher props, but we got the job done. Horner got it done in the middle of the game. Cole Reagan's just absolutely dealt today. So that was nice. But again, 2-2 day. We lost like 0.06. I mean, it was completely break even pretty much. So 28-24 overall record, down 0.21 units. And I put that mixed play under the hitter props just because the pitcher one was alt. So I don't know. Maybe I'll go back and forth. But either way, that's the recap for Tuesday. And now let's take a look at some hitter matchups. All right, we got a ton of good hitter matchups again today, a little over a page actually, but here they are. I'm not going to go over every single one, but Rafael Devers, who was off to that terrible start, obviously hitting the ball better now, but 9 for 30, not too shabby. 1 home run off Gossman. Brian De La Cruz, 9 for 23 off Taijuan Walker. And then you go down the list. How about Andrew Vaughn, 8 for 17 off the lefty Logan Allen. And then Fig Newtbar there, 6 for 15. And then how about a Mariner? Let's just talk about it. We have a Mariner here. Congratulations. Julio Rodriguez, 5 for 15 off of Hunter Brown. And then you go over the right side. And again, we do 7 or more ABs, a little less ABs over there on the right side. But still, Mookie Betts, 4 for 9. Trent Grisham hitting the ball really well for the Yankees. He is 4 for 9 as well. And then getting jiggy with it, Will Smith, 3 for 9. And then Nico Horner, who just came through for us, 4 for 8 with an extra base hit as well. And then Lourdes Gurriel, 3 for 8. And all 3 hits, extra base hits for 2 bombs off of Dean Kramer. So that's page 1. Now let's go check out page 2. And we got guys like Josh Naylor, 4 for 7. A couple under the radar guys, and then we got Bo Bichette, 3 for 7. Orlando Arcia as well, 3 for 7. So that's what we got for all the good hitter matchups today. Hopefully these help you get some winners. Now let's take a look at the bad hitter matchups, and we got some bad ones. I mean, the third one down, how about Mike Yastrzemski? 0 for 11 with 7 Ks off Nick Martinez, which is crazy. He's not even that great of a pitcher. And then Cal Raleigh, 2 for 13 with 6 Ks off of Hunter Brown. Bregman struggling against Gaussman. Also, we didn't say it at the beginning, but Nolan Arenado at the top, 4 for 24 with 4 Ks. And then 2 Toronto Blue Jays, Alejandro Kirk and George Springer down there at the bottom. They are combined 0 for 23 with 7 Ks off Tanner Houck. That is just not good at all. So that's what we got for all the bad hitter matchups. Obviously, you got Brandon Lowe over there, 0 for 12 with 6 Ks, and MJ Melendez, 1 for 15 with 10 strikeouts off Joe Ryan. That's pretty bad. But anyways, that's what we got for all the hitter matchups. Now let's take a look at the pitcher report. All right, these are the first 8 matchups of the day. All the averages are on the bottom, and all these stats are still last year. We're going to be using this current season here pretty soon once we get a bigger sample size. But Eric Fedde up there, struggling a little bit to start the year, going up against Mitch Keller of the Pirates. Kind of a mixed bag on all these pitchers, and at least on this first page, you go down, you got Max Fried. You know, hasn't dominated since coming over to the Yankees, but facing Jack Flaherty, the ex-Dodger, now with the Tigers as they look to beat the Yankees yet again. And then we got, if we keep going down, Shota Imanaga looking good yet again, as you saw last year. 2.91 ERA, above average K rate. Just does everything well. Has an elite command with a 4% walk rate. In regards to strikeout guys, on this page, Jack Flaherty really the only really high strikeout guy. Brandon Pfaadt got some Ks down there, and then Landon Knick-Knack Paddywhack for the Dodgers, 24.1% last year. But Justin Verlander, let's just talk about it. He is toast. I mean, he had over 5 ERA last year. I think he's over 6 now this year. This has to be his last year. That's for sure. He is very hittable. So maybe look at some Reds players there. But other than that, that's what we got. Randy Vasquez is, not great at all. Going up against Beto there in Sacramento. So that's page 1. Take a screenshot. Now let's check out page 2. All right, we start with the AL West Showdown. And just a heads up, that is not the Luis Castillo you think. That is Luis F. Castillo making his second start in the major leagues, going up against Hunter Brown. Advantage Houston Astros. I don't know if we can score off him. I'm going to be honest. But then we got Burke for the White Sox against Logan Allen. It is what it is. I'm not a Logan Allen guy. I don't think he's very good at all, as you can see by his numbers as well last year. But Tanner Houck against Kevin Gaussman. We talked about some of those hitter matchups as well. Gaussman had a rough year last year, but did have a good start his last time out. And then Yusei Kikuchi still misses bats, as you can see, 28% K rate, but can also get hit around quite a bit, going up against Ryan Pepio, who also misses bats. Those are two guys who got some swing and miss stuff. And then the next two guys do not really. Taijuan Walker is, he's kind of batting practice. A little bit of a Christmas tree there with Taijuan Walker. And then Joe Ryan, Seth Lugo, pretty good pitching matchup there in the AL Central with Joe Ryan, obviously 27% K rate last year, still missing bats as well. And then just a nothing. Tyler Alexander versus Senzatella in Coors Field. Not much to look at there. But again, these are all the numbers from last year. We will be having probably next week some 2025 stats in here, but hopefully these help you out. At least start your day and get you guys on the right track of where you want to place your bets and stuff like that. So that's what we got for the research help. And now it's time for the best bets. All right, this first one takes us out to San Francisco, where the Giants host the Cincinnati Reds. Giants on the money line, minus 148. Reds on the money line, plus 124, with a total of 7.5 runs. Hold your breath. Give me the Reds team total over 1.5 runs in the first 5 innings, minus 125 on DraftKings for a half unit. Now, if you can't get a team total in the first 5 innings, I also don't mind the Reds team total over 3.5 in the full game, as they are guaranteed 9 at-bats here as the road team. But first, let's talk Justin Verlander. He's just flat out not good anymore. He is obviously a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he might be the guy to fade this year. In 2 starts already. First start, he already faced this exact same Reds team. He gave up 2 earned runs and 6 hits in the first 5 innings. In the second start, he gave up 3 earned runs and 5 hits in just 2.1 innings versus my Seattle Mariners, who are absolutely horrendous and actually just went 1 for 19 with runners in scoring position tonight. It was just brutal. Anyways, he only had 2 Ks that game, just to show you he just doesn't have the same stuff, which he shouldn't. He's well into his he is into his 40s now. His fastball only sitting at 94.5, 330 average against that, only 25% ground ball rate. His slider, not moving too much. Hitters hitting 375 off of it. And now this Reds offense. This is where you got to hold your breath. Listen, it's suck on suck. Let's face it. The Reds offense has just not been great this year so far. But the big advantage here, they get to see Verlander for the second time already this year. And they already proved they can do it. They got 6 hits and 2 earned runs in those 5 innings off Verlander. Now, the Reds have the 8th worst WRC plus versus righties. I get that. But you know what? Verlander has been pretty bad himself, like we just talked about. I know the Reds have only scored a total of 3 runs in the first 2 games of the series. I'm not going to say they're going to break out huge here, but again, We just need 2 runs. Reds already proved they can do it, like I mentioned, but when you need 2 runs, here's what can happen. You can have a walk and a blast. You can have a bloop and a blast. It doesn't matter. 2 runs is not asking a lot. If the Reds can't get 2 runs off Verlander in the first 5 innings, this is an offense I may not be able to trust for the rest of the year, kind of like the Pirates and the Mariners. But give me the Reds team total over 1.5 in the first 5 innings as my first best bet. All right, this second one takes us out to New York, where the Mets host the Miami Marlins. Mets on the money line minus 225. Marlins on the money line plus 185. That's right, we're doing it. Give me the Marlins on the freaking money line plus 185 on DraftKings, 4.5 unit. Listen, guys, we gotta take chances on underdogs. We just hit an underdog with the Tigers. I think it was like minus or plus 135. Let's do it again. This is a pretty big underdog. So I know this seems insane. If you don't want to tail, I totally get it. But I think plus money spots are important here in the MLB. But the Mets just won the first 2 games of this series. We know that it's never easy to sweep a team. That's number one. Even if it's Miami, I get that. I'm not going to sit here and tell you how great Miami is. But the Miami Marlins did take 1 of 3 versus the Mets earlier this year as well. We got Max Meyer versus Tyler McGill. I think Meyer has a slight advantage, honestly, here. Maybe, I know we'll talk about McGill in a second, but Meyer, 15 Ks in 11.2 innings. He didn't face the Mets in that earlier series. He has a 3 ERA after 2 starts. Looked pretty good, not going to lie. And he looked good at the end of last year as well. He struck out 8 Braves hitters, but he did give up 8 hits. I do think he's just one of those solid young starting pitchers. Now, McGill, he's looked good through 2 starts. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. He has looked good. I don't fully buy it. He is still a guy who has had over a 4 or 5 ERA in 4 straight seasons. He has 10 Ks through 10.1 innings. So far, so good for him. But you know what? At some point, it's got to crack. Now let's talk offenses. Other than Pete Alonso and yesterday's game that the Mets just had where they scored 10 runs, this offense has not been very good. 10th worst WRC plus versus righties, right there with the Chicago White Sox. Mark Vientos, if you haven't seen him hit this year, he looks completely lost, like he's never played a game. I don't know what's going on. He's K'd a ton of times. He's hitting 114. Beatty is hitting 095. Nimmo 211. Lindor's been hit and miss, hitting 242. Now, with that said, again, the Marlins still suck. They have not been good either. 4th worst WRC plus, but again, plus 185. You got to think of this. So overall, this whole thing comes down to this. And I know I talked more about the Mets offense and the Marlins. We know the Marlins aren't very good. They got some decent young hitters. Griffin Conine's been hitting pretty decent, and Xavier Edwards obviously at the top of the lineup. So they got some pieces. But overall, it comes to this. We're getting plus 185. That's almost 2-1 on a starting pitcher matchup that honestly I think is pretty even. And also, here's the other thing. And I know this sounds weird, but it's a getaway game. It's an early start and a getaway game. Weird stuff can happen in these games. And that's why we're taking it. It's not easy to sweep a team like we mentioned. Mets bats are not exactly crushing it. And again, the Mets could come out here and win 10-0. No one would be surprised. I get that. But why not take a chance here? Give me the fish on the money line at plus 185 as my second best bet. All right, this third one takes us out to Fenway Park, where the Red Sox host the Toronto Blue Jays. Red Sox on the money line minus 125. Blue Jays on the money line plus 105 with a total of 8.5 runs. Finally got a player prop. Give me Kevin Gausman under 5.5 Ks, minus 135 on DraftKings, half unit play. A little juicy here, but Gausman, let's talk about him. He just does not have the same swing and miss stuff that he's used to having at least a couple years ago, and it's been like that since the beginning of last year. I think this is being priced a little bit high because of his name still, but last year he was under this line in 18 of 31 games, 58%, under a 9 of 15 road games. Now, in the 2 starts this year, he had 4 Ks versus the Orioles, and how about a big goose egg? 0 strikeouts versus the Mets. And it's not because he threw 2 innings. He threw 5.1 innings and couldn't get one single major league hitter to strike out. He only has a total of 16 whiffs that he's got in 11.1 innings. It just shows he's not fooling a ton of guys. His splitter, if you guys don't know about him, it's been known as one of the best pitches in baseball for a long time. In 2023, he had a 22% swinging strike rate. That's in the high 80-something percentile. I don't have the exact. I think it's like 83rd percentile or something. Hitters hit 201 off that splitter. So far this year, how about a 5% swinging strike percentage in the 6th percentile? And it wasn't very good last year either. The matchup against the Red Sox now. Boston has the 12th highest K rate versus righties. Yes, you look at that overall number, 23%. It's a little below average, obviously, but at home they have the 3rd lowest, only 15.5%. I also think their strikeout rate is actually not as high as that 22.9 because it was mostly because Devers was striking out 3 to 4 times a game. He's not doing that anymore. He is obviously a good hitter. I think it skewed the numbers a little bit. When you add a guy like Alex Bregman, he was one of the reasons why the Astros were so hard to strike out. This guy has an extremely low strikeout rate. He's one of the hardest guys in major leagues to strike out, even though, I don't like him. But he is a very tough guy to strike out. Fenway is already a hitter's park. I think this is going to be a tougher lineup to strike out here in Boston. So I can also see Boston roughing up Gausman quite a little bit here. When you're not missing bats and you're facing a good offense in a hitter park like Fenway Park, they've seen it before. Devers has had success against Gausman, that's for sure. And then Gausman just has not impressed me at all. So give me KG under 5.5 Ks. That is my third and final best bet. Some of these games start early, so be sure to check that out. And then any added plays, which there will be some, will be in the pinned comments below on X and on Discord. So before we get out of here, let's check out the recap. All right, there it is. The three best bets so far. Reds team total over 1.5 in the first 5 innings, minus 125 for a half unit. And the Marlins on the money line, plus 185 for a half unit. And Kevin Gausman under 5.5 Ks at minus 135 for a half unit as well. Again, more plays will be coming. But thank you guys for the support as always. I really appreciate it. Go check out the NBA video if you haven't already. But hope you have a great Wednesday, and we'll talk to you soon.